Hello everyone, this is Flatline and today I'm going to be doing a PvT video. Seems like a couple of people want to know exactly what you should be doing in PvT. So the first thing is to know which league you are in. If you are in gold and below, actually you can even be platinum, then I wouldn't do a 1 gate fast expand. I would try to encourage 3 gate robo, 2 gate robo, 1 gate robo expands. Even 4 gate robo expands if you're on bronze and you're really new to the game, you could do that. If you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, you can just look up my starting from scratch series and see exactly how I go about my builds for each league while I go up to masters. But it doesn't really change anything anyways. You're still going to be getting the same core buildings that you would be. The only difference is a 1 gate expand has a quicker nexus, so you have a better economy. And that's just about it. And that's usually how it goes as you climb through the leagues, is that your economy is going to be a lot stronger than it was before, because your macros are going to be better, your mechanics are going to be better, it's going to be wall sound, all that kind of stuff. My opponent is going to be Rico. It's going to be a blue Terran. He's going to go for a 12 barracks, 12 refinery. Now if you see a 12 refinery, 95% of the time it's going to be a Reaper opening. Instead he actually throws out a Marine here. And when you see a Marine and you see that they're getting gas like he is, you know he's going for a factory play. It's going to be a reactor on the barracks and then a factory. But the fact that he got a 12 refinery means that he's getting a very, very quick factory. It's not going to be as fast as a gas first build, but it's going to be relatively quick. So yeah, see the Marine. Now the timing is 3:20. Around 3:20 his first Marine should be coming out. If it doesn't come out, then you know it's going to be a Reaper, so you could just go back home and just prepare for a Reaper. Usually that means chrono boosting out a Stalker. But here's the Marine, there's that reactor, there's the factory. But like I said, since he actually opened up with a 12 gas, this is a lot quicker than usual. So you're going to see him whenever the drop happens. He's going to go for a drop, by the way, guys. When he goes for a drop, it's going to be a lot sooner than the typical drop. After they go for a barracks, refinery, factory build. I think he hits at 7 minutes. Generally the drop when they do the factory, the normal play, it's around 7:30. Alright, going to my side of the map, we're not really worried about my opening. Like I said, you just want to have some kind of expanding option build. I'm going to go into robo builds and we're going to get our additional gateways. Basically kind of like Wings of Liberty. If you have played, the core buildings you want is a 3 gates and a robo. Nowadays you see other people going for a gateway forge robo as their core buildings that they're expanding, which is perfectly fine against Widow Mine drops. Especially it's pretty good because you can put a cannon inside the main and then you can just have one observer with your army over here at your natural, and you should be perfectly fine against the Widow Mine drop. But you know what happens if they don't go for the Widow Mine drop and they actually go for Marine Marauder medevac type of composition. They do like a 3 rack stem before medevac in the front. That cannon didn't really pay off for itself inside the main, so that's the only reason why I don't really like that build. But it's a really strong counter to the Widow Mine drop. I'm a little bit sick, so bear with me with my voice. So like I said, this was a little bit earlier than usual. That's why my warp-ins were a little bit late. But once you see the widow mines, just pull your workers away. You can easily deal with this. Get your observer over here. That probe helped me a little bit. Now since that widow mine's done, you can always bring these workers back to mine. I guess I put a photon overcharge here. I guess he tried to do like a hide and run by. He might have missed that. Alright. So the fact that he did a starport before command center, like he went for a heavy tech play like he did, he has to go for at least 8 workers. You want to have at least 8 workers, and 8 workers itself just evens up the game. You generally want to have more kills with that. He only killed 5, and he's going for a 3rd command center. I like that decision from him. It's a little bit risky, but you know what? He needs to find a way to get back into the game because look at the worker count. 26 workers to 43, favoring me. Huge supply lead, 61 to 49. So it's not looking too good for him. I'm so sorry, guys. Engineering bay. He's got his double tech lab on the way. He's gonna get stim and combat shields going. It's time for me to scout. Gonna send that Phoenix over here. Going back to my base. 6 gates and a robotics bay. This is pretty much what you want to do. Once you have 16 on each mineral patch, you stop making workers temporarily so you can add on 3 gateways. You want to make sure you also get your robotics bay as well whenever you can afford it. And you're going to go into Colossus. This is pretty much the most standard play in PvT right now. Is you go up to Colossus around 2 Colossus, and then you should be going for that transition into High Templars. And the timing of that is really nice, so that way if they ever go for that SCV pull with Vikings, you're going to be perfectly fine because you're going to have Storm on time. But yeah. My 3 gates, getting my forges as well. Now the forges, you've seen a lot of videos, you've probably seen, oh, you know what, these forges are a little bit late, but it's okay because you have Chrono Boost. You can always catch up to Terran when they're getting their upgrades. And they're pretty late because of the opening that the Terran did. Now let's say if the Terran played a little bit more passive and didn't go for those fast drops, then yeah, the forges would be a lot sooner. You would be getting +1/+1 a lot quicker. Now, the fact that I saw his 3rd command center is a reason why instead of making a 2nd Colossus right after the 1st one, I'm making a Warp Prism. And the Warp Prism is there because he's not going to be, I'm going to have something out on the map, and it's going to be out there on time because he really doesn't have anything that can kind of kill me. He has a small bio army with 2 medevacs, and just this one Colossus should be able to deal with everything. Do you see this widow mine? I'm gonna go ahead and kill this off. Now the other thing to note is vision. You need a lot of vision on the map as Protoss if you want to play reactionary. You can see I have my sides covered up, have the outside of his natural covered up. The only thing I don't is right here because he scanned and sniped my observer. But because I also killed the rocks off, the only place my army has to be is at the front, because this is the only place he's going to be able to attack me into without me noticing. He is killing the rocks, 117 to 125. And +1/+1 is finishing up for me. Templar Archives on the way. Like I said, after the 2nd Colossus, you do want to go into Templar Archives. Now the timing to get your Twilight Council, you want to get that before or around 50% of when your forges, your +1's finishing up. That way, whenever your +1 finishes, your Twilight Council finishes, and you are able to resume +2/+2. It's gonna go for some multi-prong attack here. 2 cannons is really good against a single drop, but if they do a double drop, you do want to have at least 3 to 4, preferably 4. It's basically 2 cannon per drop, or per medevac drop that they do. So if it's 2 medevacs, 4, if it's 1, it's 2, 3, it's 6, etc, etc. The cannons themselves are not supposed to completely stop the drops, but it is there to severely weaken the drop, where your weapons should be able to deal with it. You see, I do see this drop over here, that's why I worked in that High Templar. I did not see this one on time. That's unfortunate for me. I'm going to be able to deal with this, but I'm going to be losing quite a bit over here. Now, the photon overcharge is really nice to have. Nice addition to HOTS, but it's not that good when Terran has +1/+1. It just does not do the justice. So yeah, you could throw down photon overcharge, but it's not going to be super effective. Whereas it's going to be a lot more effective if they're unupgraded, like in the early game. Obviously, they're a lot stronger, so you can't really rely upon photon overcharge to help defend a base against a drop. Around mid game stage, especially late game stage, it's not going to help you whatsoever. So he did some damage. He did 29 workers, 58 probes to 71, so he's going to be ahead a little bit here. Okay though, I'm going to be dropping some of these zealots as well. I'm going to be dealing some damage, trying to even things up here, right? Look at the workers killed. It's going to be getting up there. Alright, 17 workers. So really good to Unisap. Now I'm back ahead in workers, 64 to 59. So I'm catching back up in the game. You can see this, the natural is finally fully saturated. It wasn't before because of that drop did a lot of damage. But now it's looking pretty good. Got charge, got blink, getting 3-3 on the way, and now I'm resuming back into Colossus. Once you have 4 High Templars with Storm, you can go back into making Colossus. Now once you have Storm, you can go ahead and go for a 4th base. Or if you're not too sure about that, and sometimes you lose, then just wait until they get a 4th base. You can always send hallucinations to scout. Oh, okay, he's building a 4th command center. Let me go ahead and get a 4th Nexus as well. Another thing to note in PvT late game is additional High Templars. You want to have 4 with your army, and then you want to have more spread out. So I have 4 over here, still making more Colossus, adding on extra robos so that way I can rebuild up my Colossus count. Something you also want to do. And the other thing, also getting the Dark Shrine. Dark Shrine is really nice. It's gonna help. The Dark Shrine helps you contain Terran on a certain amount of bases. So on this map, you can try to contain them on 3 bases. It's really hard. This 4th base is pretty easy to get. But you should be able to contain them on 4 bases on this map. So spread this out. You can see I also have more High Templars spread out as well. So I have a total of 12 High Templars. And what you want to get these as soon as possible, so that way they can gather up energy. And spread out your units in this format. He can't really engage into you. Here he is with his ghost over here. Gonna be able to EMP some of my units, losing some of his shields. Gonna lose my mothership core as well. And look at the count. The other thing I do want to specify is I'm not maxed. I'm not maxed. I do not want to get maxed. The only time I want to max out with my army is if I want to go full on engagement with him. If you look over here, I'm playing a little bit more defensive, and that's because I'm getting a warp prism. I'm gonna go ahead and try to do some damage over here, try to warp him, but he's pretty well protected with these turrets, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. Quite a bit. Like I said, it's really hard for him to engage into me. He's trying to pick me off one by one with these Vikings. It's really smart by him, trying to kill off, you know, whatever he can. He's gonna lose a couple of those Vikings in the process, though. Here we go, getting some DTs as well. Like I said, you want to try to contain him as many bases as you can once the DTs are out. So let's say if he does have a 4th base and he has turrets there and he has a planetary fortress, that's fine. Then just contain him on those 4 bases. Make sure he doesn't get another expansion. But like in this situation, if he doesn't have a 4th base, you can try to contain him on 3 bases as much as possible. Now, I like to have a 3 robos here, generally, especially in the late game, because if they have these turrets like this, what I like to do is make 1 war prism out of one of the robos, and then make 2 immortals. Alright, now here, this is where it becomes where it gets really bad for him. We're gonna back this up a little bit so you can understand the art of the dance between the High Templars and Ghosts and the Colossus and the Vikings. So he's gonna go ahead and push up forward with his Ghost, and usually they should be able to do this because they have extremely long range with the snipes. But right here is where he messes up. He has the Vikings, he has Ghosts in the front. None of his units are protecting his Ghosts. So if he loses all of his Ghosts, what happens? My High Templars have free reign. They can always storm the army, and then Terran loses. So you do not want to lose your Ghosts. You don't want to lose your Ghosts whatsoever. Usually you want to bring them back and pull them behind your army. He doesn't do that, so I see an opening. I kill off all of his Ghosts except the one who's barely alive. So this is the time where you want to be like, you know what, I want to engage into your army. And here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the engagement, like I said. Now he doesn't have any, I just don't know. He doesn't have any Ghosts whatsoever. So my storms, like I said, I have free reign on them, do whatever I want. Now I did lose this, right? It's the extra warpits and the additional High Templars, so it's going to help me win this. Back over here, the Immortals that I drop, you'll be able to deal with whatever. Have another Warp Prism as well. And now he's pulled back. I have my 4th base a lot longer than him. He still has a mine from his 4th base. My income is a lot better than his. So the next thing you need to know is, how is Terran going to be playing? Are they going to be playing passive, or are they going to be playing aggressive? There's 2 different kinds of PvT styles in the late game. The passive style is where they're turtling and getting up to that mass Ghost Viking composition, and if they do that, then just mass expand. If they go for an aggressive build, or they're going to constantly play aggressive, you just want to make sure you are on par with their expansions and just defend. But if they're playing passive, you should be out on the map, playing aggressive, and having the option of warping inside his bases. So you see, I had 2 warp prisms. I think he sniped one of them over here, but I have another one over here. This is generally what you want to do. So one way that Terrans like to deal with this kind of style is put up some sister towers on both sides of the map, and that's exactly what he's doing. This is a tower there, and is this one? Yeah. And there. So this is going to help him gain vision of where my units are going if I am going to be dropping. grabbing my 5th base. Like I said, it's looking like he's playing passive, right? So he's not gonna be going to determine if he's playing aggressive or not. He would constantly send units towards your side of the map, like every minute. But he's not doing that. He's playing passive. He's trying to rebuild his economy. Look at his mineral count. It's really low. It's 54 to 64 probes. Can be ahead in that. He should be sending some of these over here and help him mine a little bit better. And like I said, more warp prisms the better for you. I'll be getting my nexus is finished here, so probably be sending some of my probes. This one right towards my 4th base here. The next thing you want to do is put pylons all around the map. Now this could have been done in the mid game stage. Generally you want to do this once you have 16 workers at each base. On 2 bases you should have 16 on each mineral patch and then 3 in the gas. The next probes that you make, one of them should be going out and start putting up some proxy pylons. Generally I don't do that if they go for a faster command center like he did. Just because I'm able to get out a warp prism anyway, so I'm gonna be okay when it comes to counterattacking, dropping, and harassing Terran. I have that warp prism. But if you don't have that option or that luxury, then yeah, you wanna start putting down some pylons around the map. Not only does it allow you to counterattack, but it also gains you vision of the map. And look at my vision on the map. It's pretty spot on. I have vision here, have vision here. Pretty much this whole left side is pretty much protected. This top right side is pretty much protected. The only spot that's pretty much in the dark is around here. And this is generally where his army is going to be at. Right here, see? Now, if you're wondering, well, if I had to keep on harassing and he sends so many turrets like this, what do I exactly do? Well then, not only do you want to get warp prism speed, well, I can't even talk. You want to get 2 of them. And even though they're full of zealots, like I said, minerals is not really a thing for me, so I can kind of waste them. But if you can't waste them, that's fine. Just make another warp prism. What you want to do with that warp prism and have the blank one, the one that's empty, fly first. Let it take the damage, so that way the second one can unload. So look at this, the first one doesn't unload. The second one does. Unfortunately, he does have some units over here, so this unit didn't really do anything. He knows my army's here because he has 3 sets of towers going on. Now, that trade was really good for me. It was really good for me because I have a better economy than him, so I can always replenish my High Templars. And on top of that, just with the warfare mechanics, I can replenish them a lot quicker than Terran. See, he's rebuilding his ghost count here. And look at his money compared to mine. Completely different in favor of me. Nothing I really can do. Now, since he has all these turrets, I'm gonna send some of these DTs over here to just go straight up over here. There's a reason why I killed these rocks off. I'm so sorry, guys. But I just haven't made any content in a while, so I just wanted to just do something. Alright, so he's going to try to get a 5th base, but like I said, once you have DTs, he should most likely be contained. The only time it's really hard to contain a Terran is if they're playing aggressive. But if they play really passive like this, really easy to contain them. Ooh, warp prism got in. Oh, didn't get all those warp in. Another thing I do want to touch base on is the amount of gateways. You want to have at least 4 gateways per base. Once you have more than 3 bases, once you have 3 bases, you want to have 4 gates per base at least. So, trivia question: if you have 3 bases fully saturated, how many gateways do you want? You want 12. Now, composition-wise, the other thing I'm gonna go over is what exactly do you get once they hit the Mass Viking Ghost style. It's really complicated. No, just EMP all the High Templars, all the Vikings, kill all your Colossus. What do you do? The way the Koreans have been doing it is they go for Photon Cannons, High Templars, and Tempest. And you just cannon walk your way or cannon jump your way towards their base. And there's really nothing they can do. Nothing really outranges the Tempest. And if any Vikings do want to go ahead and try to engage into you, you're behind cannon, so that's going to help. And then you also have the High Templars to storm. But what if he sends his Ghost first? Well, then you have your Tempest to shoot them off. So they kind of work hand in hand really well. That's one way you could do it. If you're not really comfortable with that, then you can go for what I've been testing. I've seen Huck do this. He goes for mass Stalkers, mass Colossus, like 12 Colossus, mass Stalkers. Stalkers aren't the best units, we understand that in late game, but they're pretty much your go-to unit when it comes to sniping Vikings. Obviously, you probably could add on like a couple of Archons, but I don't think Archons is really a good thing to go for, because if he sees that you have no High Templars, he's just going to EMP all your army, and then the Archons are pretty much wasted at that point. So the reason why the Mass Ghost the Mass Stalker Colossus works is because the Ghosts don't really do anything but remove shields. So let's say he has 20 Ghosts. He could land, he could throw down as many EMPs as he wants, but once we lose all our shields, we lose all our shields. There's nothing else the EMP does besides that to our army. And I mean, all that's pretty much wasted right there. And then the Stalkers, you want to have 8 Stalkers to kill off a Viking, but it's pretty easy to lose, you know, 1 or 2 Stalkers while you're trying to target fire the Vikings. So the fact that you go for that Mass Stalker style is that you could just grab an extra 1 or 2 Stalkers to target fire the Vikings. The Mass Colossus should be able to wipe out the ground. So that's pretty much what's going to be killing your Stalkers, is the ground, of course. Duh. But if you have 12 Colossus, that ground army is going to die pretty quickly. It comes down to who kills who first, either the Vikings or the Colossus. Now, if you go for the Mass Colossus, Mass Stalkers, you want to have 1 robo per base. Yeah, one robo per base. So if you go for the Mass Stalker, Mass Colossus style, if you're on 4 bases, you should have 4 robos. If you're on 5, you get 5. If you have 6, you have 6. Now, if you go for that Tempest route, you want to have, instead of the 6 robos on 6 bases, you'll have 3 robos and 3 Stargates. So you'll go up to 3 Stargates whenever you can. These 2 robos wouldn't be a factor if you go for that Tempest route. These would be Stargates instead. Or at least you'll have 2 robos and then 1 Stargate. Not exactly sure which one I like. Yeah, I think the 2 robos are a lot safer though. So just go with the 2 robos and then the Stargate. Once you get the 4th base, add another Stargate. 5th base, add that other Stargate. Get your Tempest count going. Now you don't want a mass Tempest though. You just want like 6 to 10. I'd probably say 10 is probably the safest. You don't want to have too many Tempests though. And yeah, if they play passive, just harass as much as possible if you can, and just mass expand. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that could be bothering or troubling for some Protoss in PvT. If you have any comments or any questions that I missed out on PvT that you're having troubles with, please leave it in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube at youtube.com/flatlinesec2. You can also follow me on Twitter and check out my stream, twitter.com/flatlinesec2, twitch.tv/flatlinesec2. And if you haven't already, check out my website, flatlinesec2.com. It's a lot more organized. It's a lot more organized, so you probably could find what you need over there a lot quicker than on YouTube or anything else like that. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.